do you feel responsibility because they were your employees?
I feel responsibility to tell the truth, and that's what I'm doing.
Ladies and gentlemen, the so-called super mayor has finally broken her silence, responding just days after that chaotic, widely circulated brawl in Thornton Township. The incident, which saw her sprinting across the room like the ultimate warrior, before leaping into the fray to defend her man, resulted in nothing but public humiliation, not just for herself, but for the entire community she represents. Now, in an attempt to address the backlash, she has granted an exclusive interview to ABC7, where she speaks out for the first time since the debacle. Let's take a look at what she has to say.
Opponents called for the mayor of Dalton to resign. She is defending herself tonight. Tiffany Henyard says she is staying put and running for re-election. Henyard says if she wins, she will choose employees much more carefully.
Of course, she's not going to quit. Resigning as mayor or supervisor isn't even on her radar. With her term nearing its end, she's focused on collecting as many checks as possible before it's over. While protests are pushing for her to step down, it's highly unlikely to happen. The governor isn't expected to intervene, especially with election season in full swing. They won't want to get tangled up in this mess. Instead, it seems she'll just ride it out until the voters ultimately decide her fate. If the people truly want her gone, they'll have to take action where it matters most, at the polls.
The mayor of Dalton has had nothing to say in person about the investigation into village finances until today.
I understand everybody want me to be the target. I understand everybody want me to be the bad guy for everything that goes on in the village, but that's not the truth.
The problem with that situation is how the fight unfolded, when you jumped off the table and charged in like a warrior, not to break things up, but to throw punches yourself. It was a terrible look. That video has gone viral, probably one of the biggest ones to come out of this entire mess, and of course people see you as the bad guy because, well, you're doing bad things. You've embarrassed the whole community and created such a toxic environment that now people are seriously considering making meetings virtual. In my poll, more people actually wanted in-person meetings, but let's be real. That's probably because they just want to see another fight. In my opinion, at this point, meetings should be virtual. It's become too dangerous and too toxic. If I were a resident, I wouldn't go. I have kids, loved ones. Why would I put them in that situation? Whether it's Dalton or Thor Township, I wouldn't attend. What we saw in that meeting was a complete disaster.
Tiffany Henyard met with us and her attorney to comment on the report. They say Henyard released a statement Tuesday, but it didn't get much attention. Henyard says she's being blamed for the actions of others.
You're the boss.
Do everybody know what their employees do? No.
But do you feel responsibility because they were your employees?
I feel responsibility to tell the truth, and that's what I'm doing.
In all the time I've been covering her, over a year now, she has never once said, "I'm sorry." Not once has she taken responsibility for anything that went wrong. Those words just don't come out of her mouth. Even in that easy softball interview with Cleopatra, if that's who it was, she still couldn't bring herself to say it. She just can't. Instead, she constantly doubles and triples down, always shifting the blame onto everyone else but herself.
Monday, former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot revealed expenses ballooned during Henyard's tenure that led to a deficit of $3.65 million at one point. Lightfoot reports anything over $5,000 needed trustee approval, but that protocol wasn't followed, and instead the village was paying off expenses from 6 different credit cards that included few receipts from places like Wayfair and Amazon, and over $40,000 for items for an ice skating rink. Henyard contends the expenses were approved and that she was not the one making purchases.
Her main defense when the federal authorities step in and start issuing indictments will likely revolve around distancing herself from direct financial transactions. She has deliberately avoided being directly linked to the credit cards, and the reason is clear. If any financial misconduct comes to light, she can argue that other responsible adults were the ones making the purchases. She will claim she had no knowledge of the transactions or that she was not involved, effectively shifting the blame elsewhere. If this case proceeds to a jury trial at the federal level, her strategy will likely be to convince the jury that she had no direct involvement. Her defense will be built around statements like, "It wasn't me," "I didn't authorize these payments," "I wasn't aware," "I was misled," or even, "I was manipulated by Keith Freeman." This is the narrative she will likely push in an attempt to escape accountability. However, as a leader, true responsibility does not end with personal actions. it extends to those one hires and oversees. Even if she did not personally make every financial decision, the fact remains that she was in charge. Leadership, whether in politics or any other managerial position, requires taking accountability when subordinates make mistakes. Any experienced manager understands that when employees make errors, some level of responsibility still falls on the person in charge. Leaders are responsible for hiring, training, and supervising their teams, while individuals have the agency to make their own choices. When those choices result in serious consequences, it is up to the leader to acknowledge the failure and accept responsibility. Yet, in her case, she has proven incapable of doing so. She refuses to take accountability, even when the evidence suggests she should. Rather than admitting fault or acknowledging any missteps, she continually shifts the blame onto others. This inability to take responsibility will likely be a key factor in how both the legal proceedings and public opinion ultimately shape her legacy.
On Monday, former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot revealed expenses ballooned during Henyard's tenure that led to a deficit of $3.65 million at one point. Lightfoot reports anything over $5,000 needed trustee approval, but that protocol wasn't followed, and instead the village was paying off expenses from 6 different credit cards that included few receipts from places like Wayfair and Amazon, and over $40,000 for items for an ice skating rink.
See, that's the issue right there. You are the one in charge. At one moment, you claim you don't handle the day-to-day operations, and the next, you tell people that you do. The reality is, you are likely the one overseeing the daily operations. That's the problem. You are the one running the show.
Henyard contends the expenses were approved and that she was not the one making purchases.
Put the responsibility where it goes. I understand everybody wants to be the mayor. It's not the mayor. It's people put in place.
Lori Lightfoot's not interested in fact.
Hey, shout out to Bro Brenly. He's back again trying to grab some of that spotlight. This is absolutely hilarious.
In spectacle. She's interested in political theater that's going to help her, not the people.
Lightfoot's spokesperson shared a comment which reads in part, Mayor Henyard and others systematically withheld the truth from trustees and the public about the true financial state of the village. The spokesperson goes on to say, the facts speak for themselves, and no amount of spin can overcome the tragic reality of her tenure as mayor of the village of Dalton. Social media lit up with videos of a scuffle at a Thornton Township meeting where Henyard is supervisor. Henyard is seen in this video getting involved in the chaos. Her lawyer claims someone from outside Dalton who attended the meeting swung a knife at the mayor's boyfriend.
Really? A knife? Who actually saw this knife? From everyone I've seen, whether they were at the township meeting or those who recorded it, there have been millions of videos, and I haven't seen a single knife in any of them. What are they even talking about?
These men are attacking him with a deadly weapon, and the mayor, fearing for his safety, did go toward that crowd, risking getting hurt herself.
Her attorney
Again, where was this knife? Where was it? I haven't seen a single video showing anyone brandishing a knife. All I saw was a bunch of people pushing and punching each other, and then someone tried to use a chair. That didn't work. Then, I think that guy tried to use it to take the TV down. Honestly, I have no idea what he was doing. He just jumped up on the desk. Where did these so-called weapons even come from? I remember they all had to go through metal detectors, so where is this knife? What are you even talking about? And on top of that, no one has been charged with a crime. This is absolutely crazy.
that coverage of the incident unfairly villainizes Henyard. We should mention no one was arrested or charged in that incident in Thornton Township.
If someone had a deadly weapon or a knife, then charges should have been filed. The fact that no one has been charged doesn't make any sense to me. If someone actually had a dangerous weapon, that's serious. It's not just a simple assault or a minor altercation. If there was intent to cause harm and a weapon was involved, there should be real consequences. But instead, they just threw the claim out there without any follow-up. That's crazy.
Now, meantime, the Dalton board meets on Monday, but after what happened in Thornton, Mark and Cheryl, Tiffany Henyard says she's unlikely to attend unless they beef up security.
Most likely she won't be at the meeting on Monday, unless it's virtual, of course. I'm not sure if the other trustees will implement more security changes at the Dalton Park District, but that's probably where they'll hold the meeting. Or they might just proceed without her. I mean, they don't exactly need her there to get the business done. The meeting is scheduled for Monday, and I'm willing to bet she won't show up. We'll see, though. Let me know in the comments if you think she will. I'm sure you've seen the fight from every angle like I have. Did you see a knife? Did anyone pull a weapon? The only thing I noticed, and what others have pointed out, was that Tiffany Henyard ran in there with a mic in hand. She was obviously there to fight, probably because her boo was getting into trouble. He was being investigated by the board for why they're paying him 6 figures for a position he isn't really doing anything in. All of that, combined with everything else going on, probably led to Tiffany flipping out, going full Stone Cold Steve Austin on the situation, and trying to lay the smackdown on some people. I don't think it worked, though, and I've heard she slammed her head on the desk, but I didn't see that angle. At this point, I've watched this fight so many times, I'm pretty much over it. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for taking the time to watch, and I'll see you in the next video.